Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to make a grenade in Crayta. So we are going to look at the grenade problem, which has come up a few times on the Discord and on the forums. And so I thought I would see if I can offer some help to people out there who are trying to make a grenade and they just want to lob a thing that explodes at their friends and it's just not working. So here I am. I'm going to offer a solution. Now, this is one way of solving this problem. And what that means is that there are lots and lots of ways of making a grenade in this game. And there are lots of different types of grenade that you could make. There's some that you could pick up and throw. There's some that just fall from the sky. There's smoke grenades. There's lots of different grenades and the way they behave. And also, there's lots of different ways of solving each one of those types of grenade. There's multiple ways of solving this problem. So this is a way of doing it, but this might not be the best way. Hopefully, it's not the worst way. But what I want to say is, like, there are going to be other ways of doing this. So if you discover a way that's better for your game or has the functionality that you want for your specific scenario, then by all means go that route and do that thing and make it awesome, because that is ultimately what this game dev stuff is all about. Is there's, you know, in my game I want a certain behavior for my grenade and I'm just going to make that the best way I can. In your game you might want a different behavior and you may be far more skilled than I am, or you know, the same level as me or whatever. So yeah, don't think that this is the only way of making a grenade, and don't think this is the only type of grenade you can make. That is the disclosure. Now that I've said that, I can talk about making a grenade. So at the moment I have a game-ish. It's not really a game. There's no objective. It's more of like a walking simulator with guns. So I have a walking simulator with guns and I can walk around. Notice that I already have installed the gun package, which has come along with its inventory system. So I can use that. I'm going to need a few things for grenades. One of them is the ability to hold the grenade. So for me, that's having this inventory system. So I need that. I also am going to need some voxel damage stuff. So I've turned on damage on my terrain because I want to be able to blow it up with grenades. So I've installed the gun package. And is there any other packages that are installed? Not at the moment. Okay, so I've installed the gun package and I've basically set that up. If you need some more help with that bit, there is another tutorial all about the gun package and how to install it and use it in a game that has been built from scratch. So if you want to implement it in a game where you didn't start with a team deathmatch or capture the flag game templates, then there's a video to help you with that. I'm going to assume that you've done that and you've implemented it and you are where I am now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to make a grenade that you can pick up. So I've got this template over here, which is called grenade 4. Well, it's not. The template is called grenade. And let's edit that and I'll show you what it is. It's a tennis ball with a grenade over the top of it. And that's because for the grip I want to use, the actual position of the grenade needed a little bit of tweaking. So the grenade itself is this grenade 5, and grenade is the tennis ball. So grenade 5 has a Z position of minus 8.35, which I found means that in the knife carry, the character holds it perfectly. So there we go. That's a solution to that particular thing. Notice that I've got collide with all but player turned off. I don't want to collide with the players in my grenade, but you might want to collide with players in your grenade. So that might be a solution that you want to look at. So yes, I have a grenade and it's there, but I want to, and it's a template, but I want to make it pick upable. So I want to give my players the opportunity to walk up to it and pick it up. So I need to add some stuff to it. In the gun package, there's the pickup spawner script, which I'm going to need for this. I'm also going to need to add script inventory item spec script, which describes what this item is like for the inventory system. So the pickup spawner script gives me the opportunity to pick it up, and the inventory item spec script gives me the ability to describe it for the inventory system. So in the inventory item spec script, I would give it the name I want it to have in the inventory. I can also give it the icon I want it to have, like that, and I can select the type of grip I want to use when I'm holding it. I'm going to make sure I can stack it because it's a grenade, it's disposable, I want to be able to pick up loads of them. I want to have pockets full of grenades. So I've got can stack ticked. Up here we've got the pickup spawner script, so I can add a sound to pick it for my grenade. So let's go to the sounds tab, look for the grenade sounds. That sounds good. Let's put that there. I want it to respawn every 10 seconds. I want to show it on straight away at the start. I don't want collision on the children. And actually one thing I need to do is, let's just go to the grenade templates while I'm editing it, because that has not added it to the template. Oh, I know why. Let's push that to the template there. Yep, I want that to happen. So a better way of doing this is to edit it this way in the template. So I've got this pickup script. One thing I want to do is I want to make sure that if you interact with the child, the actual grenade, that it calls the onInteract function of its parent. So I'll just hook that up there. So let's test whether whether that now works, whether I can go and pick up that grenade. So wandering over to the grenade. Yes, I can pick it up. Interestingly, the position is not quite right. So let's just double check that. It looks like it's the wrong way round. It is the wrong way round. This needs to be minus 8.35. There we go. That interact method is still there. Let's just test that. Oh, it's buried in the table now. That's okay. I can still pick it up. Okay, I have a grenade and I can't do anything with it. So the next thing we need to do, so we can pick up the grenade and hold it in our hands, which is a really good step towards being able to throw it. Now I want to be able to throw my grenade, so I'm going to need to do some specific coding for the grenade itself. So let's go and do that. We're going to add a script to the grenade template, the root entity, which is called grenade here. So it's a new script and it's going to be called grenade script. Let me just check that's gone into the scripts. Yep. Okay. So grenade script, let's go in here. So let's break down what we need to do for the grenade. So when the player presses a button, I want them to pull the pin out essentially and to start a timer. So let's do that bit. Then when they release a button, I want them to throw the grenade, which means we're going to need to shoot it through the air with some kind of physics and also let go of it. And then I want to explode it, which we'll come on to later. So I need some button press on button pressed here. I need some button press things for pressing and releasing the button, and I'm going to need a tick function for that timer that I talk about, where I am going to count down a timer once you've pulled the pin out. We're going to need some variables as well, so let's do some of that. We need a fuse timer variable, which is going to be how long a fuse we have. I'm going to put that in a class level variable here, because I don't want to affect the original timer because we might need to use it again. And then I'm also going to add that we have a pin in. So when it's in, it's true. When the pin has been taken out, it's false. Which means this function here, first let's check that it's the primary firing button. And then take the pin out if we have pressed the primary firing. We don't want to be interacting with something else in our game and then accidentally pull the pin out of our grenade. That's not very much fun for the player because it will explode. So that's on button pressed. This needs to be on button released. And at this point, we're going to throw the grenade. So let's just write a comment to say we will throw the grenade. And in here, we need to say if the pin has been taken out. So if not pin, then let's count down that timer. Okay, so I'm just working on the timer logic at the start. Count down the timer. We need to say if the timer is greater than 0, then count down the timer. Otherwise, it's time to explode. Let's do that here, actually. Let's not do an else. If after we've deleted, after we've removed the delta time is the difference in time between this tick and the last tick. So it'll be less than a second. So we're going to be counting down this timer by removing whatever that amount is. Every time that's called, it will count down a little bit more. If self.remaining, so if our timer has reached or is less than 0, because we don't know exactly what delta time is, it might take us below 0 into the negative numbers. So we're just saying if it's less than or equal to 0, then, and here we will explode the grenade. Function, grenade script, explode. So I'm just setting up some basic logic. So we've got step 1, which was pick up the grenade. That's taken care of using the inventory system. This is, we've got step 2. Now that's what we're looking at here, which is being able to cook the grenade. So I've got this fuse timer property, which has been set up here. So let's make it a 3-second fuse. That then gets put into remaining and our pin is turned on. If the player presses the primary button, presses it down, doesn't matter whether they release it or not, but presses it down, then remove the pin. When the pin has been removed every frame, if the pin has been removed, and if we have some countdown timer left, then remove the amount of time since the last frame. And if we have reached 0, then explode. So we've done, this is kind of the cooking logic. So let's just print out that we've got exploding happening. And let's also print out we have taken the pin out here. Okay, so we've got those 2 bits. And I'm just going to, one other thing we can do to speed up the dev cycle, so the amount of time it takes us to build and run the game and test our code. Let's speed that up by setting our default template to the grenade. So we start, instead of starting with an AK-47 assault rifle thing, we start with a grenade. So there we go. So clicking down and wait 3 seconds. I already did it. Let's do it again. Start again. So we have the console open now. Clicking down removes the pin. And 3 seconds later it explodes. Now I can keep clicking down and removing the pin. That doesn't matter because the pin's already removed. So we can get rid of our statements now. I've done a tutorial on making things explode, so I'll probably use something similar to that. The throwing is going to be difficult. So let's talk about the throwing part of it now. So when we have our grenade item in the game world, which is over here, this item here, the pickup spawner script, which is added to the grenade. What that does is when you interact with the grenade, it makes the grenade, this grenade here, invisible, and it actually spawns a new one in your inventory system. So it's like a chain reaction. You've interacted with this grenade, so a new one is spawned in your inventory, because this one is going to be made invisible, and then when it respawns in 10 seconds, it will come back. So this same grenade just turns on and off when you interact with it. And then it fires messages at your inventory system to make a new one. So each time you pick it up, a new one is added. A new grenade has been added to your inventory. Now, we could use the grenade in the inventory as the grenade that we throw. But when I investigated that, there was a couple of nuances with the inventory system that meant it was a bit tricky to do that, and I would need to write quite a lot of custom code for the inventory system itself. And this isn't an inventory system tutorial. This is a grenades tutorial. So I thought I would separate it completely and keep it very focused on the grenade. So when you pick up the grenade, it's going to create a grenade in your inventory system. Then when you throw the grenade, it's going to remove that grenade from the inventory system, and it's going to create a new grenade, which is not in the inventory system, it's in the game world, and has the trajectory of wherever the player is looking. So there's a bit of jiggery-pokery with the cooking timer to manage, and there's a bit of jiggery-pokery with the different grenades. There's the grenade there in the game, there's the grenade in your inventory, and then there's the grenade that you throw. So there's kind of 3 grenades. So the way we're going to do this is when you release the button, I'm just going to get my reference code up so that I don't get this wrong. When you release the button, okay, we first of all need to check the button is the primary button. If we've released the interact button, then we don't want to throw the grenade. And then we need to check that we've pulled the pin out, because otherwise we're throwing a grenade with the pin in, which is just going to bounce around and make us look a bit silly. Then I've got this code that I'm going to copy and paste in here. And what this does is it sets up an animation to play, like a throwing animation. I'm using the melee animation because it actually works really well as a throwing animation. The melee action works really well as a throwing action. When you would normally hit, so when you've got like an axe or something and you play this melee animation, which is the player hitting something with a melee weapon, whenever that weapon hits whatever it needs to, it throws this event here, melee impact, and I'm going to use that event to launch the grenade into the sky. Like that. So let's take this moment and just go and test that. There we go. Okay, so we should be able to see now a throwing action, not necessarily with the grenade. Attempt to index field player. Aha, yes. Okay, so that is an error, and that's an error because this doesn't know what self.player is. Now it could go and get that, but there's actually an event we can leverage from the inventory system called onHeld. So when we have selected our grenade in our inventory, it calls this onHeld event, which means any script attached to the grenade will it will run any script with the onHeld function that is attached to the grenade. That function will run when the user has selected the grenade in their inventory, and it will send us the player. So all we need to do is capture that player and store it in our class. So let's try that. There. So we now have somewhat throwing animation. So the next step is going to be the really tricky bit of instantiating a new grenade and throwing it through the sky. So in order to do that, let's now write our throw grenade function. So firstly, we want to create a new grenade. So I'm going to create one and I'm going to store it in a variable called thrown grenade, because at this point the grenade will have been thrown. So get world, spawn, and then that's self, get entity. And we need to, if you look at, when you write a function like this, it comes up with a handy tooltip and tells you what things we need. So we need a template, we need the position to spawn it, and we need the rotation. So the template we can get from our entity. The position we can set to 0 to start with. Vector.0. And the rotation we will set to 0 too, because we're going to do set those in a different way. Then, because our grenade has got all this pickup spawner stuff attached to it, I'm gonna, because it's, this grenade has now, we've now instantiated a new grenade, a new version of this template with all of this code attached to it and all of the pickup spawner stuff and all of the inventory item spec script. All of that stuff is attached to this new thrown grenade. And I want to turn off all of that pickup spawner stuff. So the way I did that was I created a new event on the pickup spawner to literally just turn all of that off. So I'm going to just edit the pickup spawner script, and where it's got on held, I created this on drop function, which is basically the same as this, except held is false and visible and collision are both true. But the important thing is we're cancelling these tasks as well, which is like rotating tasks and respawning tasks, because it's all set on a timer, and I don't want to do all of that on my brand new grenade that is being thrown. The grenade in the hand doesn't have that stuff on it already because it's already set up to be on held. The grenade in the real world on the table needs that stuff. So we're just managing the state of our grenade a little bit here. So thrown grenade, center script, because I don't really care what scripts they're listening. And this is going to be on drop. And that should, I need to send the player, self.player. Okay, so we've spawned a grenade and we've turned on collision and visible and that grenade now. But now the grenade exists in the middle of nowhere. So let's just comment this, spawn the grenade and turn off the pickup stuff. The grenade exists in the middle of nowhere. So let's now sort that position out. And the way I've done that, and again, you might find a different solution to this, is I've literally attached it to the player's hand, and then immediately, which will then set the position and the rotation exactly right, and then immediately detached it. So it's basically leveraging the API to set the position and rotation for me, and then making sure that it's not actually still being held immediately afterwards. So let's run that and see whether we are spawning a grenade, and it should exist where the hand is. And it has not. I'll just check that the function is actually being run, the throw grenade function. We've got 2 throw grenade functions, and so I will put that in there and delete that. There we go. I already had written it. That's okay. That's something that sometimes happens when you're coding. Okay, so there it is. And each time I throw the grenade, a new one is being spawned. Perfect. That That's weird, but that could be a useful thing for a different game if you wanted to leave grenades floating in space. Okay, so that's good. We're off to a good start. Now, if we want the grenades to behave like proper grenades, we should probably turn on physics, which means that they would now fall out of the sky. Great. So let me just look at this code that I've got for reference. Okay, so now we need to throw the actual thing in a direction. So we've turned on physics, which is great. Let's get where we're looking at. So this is going to be two local variables, the I and look at equals self.player get. So remember, we set the player from in the onHeld function. Get look at like that. So this function runs and it gives us the player's I and whatever they're looking at. Then the next thing we need to do is work out a trajectory, a direction. So the direction will be what we're looking at minus the I. So these are two positions in 3D space. These are vectors. This is an x, y, and z coordinate, and this is a different x, y, and z coordinate. So they're two positions in 3D space, and we can get the angle between them from one to the other by using subtract, which is really handy. So by doing whatever we're looking at subtracted from the I, that gives us the angle from the I to what we're looking at, which is the trajectory we want to shoot our grenade on. So then we just need to make sure we normalize that. So when you normalize something, you're basically making sure that all of the numbers are between 0 and 1, because we don't want the distance from what we're looking at to affect how powerfully we've thrown it. We want to give the power separately to that. So whichever direction we're looking, we don't care how far away we're looking. We just care about what direction. And that's what that normalize is doing. It's just limiting to what direction we're looking, not how far away we're looking at. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we can throw the grenade now. So let's add impulse and let's do the direction multiplied by, and this is where we need to write another property up here, which is going to be throw power, I guess. And a good default for this that I found is around 1800. So I can use that value here. Self.properties.throw power. So we've got physics enabled, and now we're adding an impulse to the grenade. So let's see what happens. There we go. Job done. Grenade thrown. It's a never-ending amount of grenades. Okay, so we've got lots and lots of grenades, which we're going to have to sort out as well. That throw power was a bit too much. Let's change that to 1400. And let's just check that's propagated. Yep, okay, cool. So that bit is done. That bit is kind of done. We also need to... Okay, so we haven't got any of the explosion logic working, but we are now throwing a grenade. So one thing we need to do, because otherwise we've got a never-ending supply of grenades, is we need to address the inventory. So we can do that here, and this is the code to do that. So we'll basically get hold of the inventory, then use the inventory to find this thing, so this grenade, and then remove that grenade from the inventory. It's a bit of a roundabout way, but that's basically how you do that. So we've got remove the grenade from the inventory. We've got spawn a new grenade and turn off the pickup stuff. This is position the grenade on the hand. And this is throw the grenade, physics, posh, physics logic. Okay. And then under here, we need to do reset any variables. Like if this is the grenade that's held in your hand, then I don't want that. I don't want that timer to still be counting down if it's the one in your hand. The one we've launched needs that timer now, not the one in your hand. So what we need to do now is we need to migrate that timer over to the one that's going through the air, and the one that's in the hand needs to return back to not being about to explode in your hand. So that's what we're doing here. We will reset that timer and we will put the pin in the grenade in our hand. Self.pin equals true. Now to move the remaining time and to take out the pin of the one that's being thrown through the air, let's run a event on the grenade. Thrown grenade, send to scripts, and this is going to be the on thrown event, which is a new thing that I've made up. Self.remaining, self.player. And we can add that as a function to this grenade script as well. On thrown. So the self.remaining will go in the remaining, the self.player will go in the player. So we can set these values. Remember, this is a new grenade that we've just instantiated. So we need to now set all of this stuff up for it. The pin is not in, for example, on this one. And that is all I need for now. So the remaining timer, the pin is not in, the remaining timer. So now the timer is counting down for the grenade that's flying through the air and the grenade that's in our hand. The pin's been safely put back in and we can relax with that one. Let's just see if we're still exploding. So now we should be exploding after 3 seconds of pressing the button, but we should be doing it multiple times. Oh, I've also been removing them. So now it's removed from my inventory and it's exploded. And I don't have any more grenades. Maybe I can pick this one up. Can I pick this one up? I can if I... Okay. And launch it. Exploding. Okay, great. So we've got 2 grenades now. Let's make this easier for ourselves and add some more grenades to our defaults. I'm going to have 10, 11. I'm going to have 11, apparently. That's fine. Okay, so the last part of it, the last part of our grenade is going to be making the grenade explode. So we know that we're running the exploding function after a few seconds, which is great. Let's do some stuff to make a explosion happen. So what do we need for that? We are going to need some effects. So I will have an explosion effect. I will attach that to that. We're going to need an explosion sound as well. I'll add that to the script. One other thing, the grenade's quite hard to see, so I might get a trail for it too. Okay, so I've got a trail for it as well. Let's turn off the explosion effect. We don't want that to be active, and we don't want that to be active until we've thrown it. So in our grenade script, we will store these in some properties. The first one is the trail, and we will just turn that on when we launch the grenade into the sky. And the other one is the explosion effect. That's an entity. And the last one that I haven't set yet is the explosion sound. And that is going to be a sound asset. So we've got those things. When we launch the grenade on the onThrown event, self.properties.trail.active equals true. We could have a sound like there as well. I might do that. The explosion needs to be self get entity dot visible is false. We also need to use the explosion property explosion effect, and we set that to active, and also play the sound. So to do that, get entity, play sound at location. The location will be where we are at the moment, and the sound is the sound I just set in the properties. Okay, let's see whether that works. Did I set that all? No, I didn't set it. Okay, so before I test that, I need to go in here, go to where this grenade script is, and I need to set all of these things. So we've got the weapon trail, we've got the fire explosion effect, and we need the sound asset. And I'll just go for like a medium explosion. I like that one. Okay. Interesting. Any errors? No errors. Okay, so the explosion effect is certainly happening. Perhaps it's being thrown way too hard. I believe it's being thrown very, very hard. It possibly is too far away for us to hear the explosion. Ah, there we go. Okay, we sort of have it working, except the grenade is not being made invisible. Let's turn off collisions. Let's also turn off physics to an exploded grenade. We need to stop the children being visible as well, although that might just do us for now. Okay, there's some minor clipping stuff going on. It's not the end of the world. Can I cook it? Yes, but when I release, it'll throw another one. So I want to stop that from happening. I want to say whether it's exploded. If it's been thrown, let's say self.thrown equals false. And then when, if not, and not self.thrown. Yep, and we need to set it to self.thrown equals true. So we set a little flag called thrown, which basically says if I've been thrown, then if I haven't been thrown, then I'm allowed to be thrown. And what we'll do is when it explodes, yes. So we shouldn't be... The throne needs to be here. Okay. Cooking. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want it to throw once it's cooked and exploded. So maybe I need another flag. Let's get rid of the thrown stuff. Yeah, let's get rid of the thrown stuff for now. Don't need that. Let's put exploded. Ah, no. Let's keep that. And let's remove this grenade from the inventory if we've thrown it. If we haven't thrown it, but it's exploded. Like some tricky bit here. Just to work around the inventory system a little bit. So if not self.thrown. So if we haven't thrown it, but we are in our explode function. So at this point, we've not thrown, but we have exploded. So it's just exploded in the player's face. If that's happened, we need to remove this this particular grenade from the inventory. Otherwise, we will continuously be able to have those. And by doing that, I'm also hoping that that will take care of the released function as well. So let's cook the grenade, explodes in my face, and it still throws it, but at least we've got a countdown. Let's just carry on for a second. I reckon I can solve that throwing problem. So we've removed that. We need to reset our exploded grenade in case it's the one we have in our hands. And to do that, we need to make the sound and the explosion effect. Well, we just need to make the explosion effect. We need to turn that off after some time. Wait, let's use the fuse timer again, but maybe like 1 second less than the fuse timer, and then turn off so that we can turn it back on. Yes. interestingly, if I release it after holding onto it, the remaining time isn't moving over. So there's a definite bug there. Let's have a quick look. So we've got on throne. That's when we're moving over the remaining time to the real one. That's when we need to set the throne equal to true. There. And then when it's exploded, we need to reset the pin, because then we won't try and throw it again. Are we checking the pin in button released? Yeah. Yeah, the pin must be released. So when we explode, we want to reset the pin. And remaining. So self.pin is true because we've exploded. This is the one in the hand. So when the one in the hand has exploded, we want to, after it's exploded, we want to put the pin back in the one in the hand, and we want to set the remaining time to the properties remaining time, the fuse timer again. Okay, so that should hopefully solve the never-ending exploding in the face grenade. Explodes in my face, and I let go and it didn't throw it. Great. Okay, so the last part of this is quite a fun thing, and it's just I wanted to be able to damage the environment somewhat. So let's set up a couple of variables to do that. So it's a grenade. It's going to blow up some of these voxels. The first one is the damage amount. That's a number, and a good standard number for a damage is around 350. We also need an explosion radius for our grenade. So everything it's going to damage, the spherical radius of that. So damage radius. The type of that is again a number. It's just a single number. And the default for that one will be, I don't know, 150. 150 damage radius. And in the explode function, let's do, let's get world. And we're going to apply radial damage. And the damage number is in the properties that we just set. So again, I'm using the thing, the pop-up here, self.properties.damage. I'm using the tooltip here to remind myself what I need to do here. It's after the origin again. So that's wherever this grenade is. Get position. The radius is in our properties. So damage radius. Raid. That's not right. Radius. The fall off, I will do, let's just do 10. Let's just do 0, apparently, for now. From entity is the entity, self get entity. There we go. That'll do. I think the last one, the damage table modifier, you can set that if you use it. Okay, yes. So we have grenades exploding in my world. Oh, they keep getting lost in the mud. Cool. That's cool. Okay. There we go. Okay, so if I wanted to damage some of the entities in my game world, I might need to program that separately. If I hold on to the grenade, so now I'm cooking it, notice that I get damaged a little bit. Okay, I need to go and pick up a grenade. Okay, so I think it's because I'm destroying the grenade in the hand, it's destroying the sound, which is a little tweak. I can look at doing something about that at a later date. But basically, that's it. I think we've got grenades. I feel like we've made grenades now that you can pick up, you can throw. They damage people and the environment, which is what every good game seems to be about. They damage the voxels there, which is lovely. You can maybe do some digging with grenades if you want to. Just keep digging yourself a little grenade hole. Anyway, that's grenades and a way of solving the grenade problem. Hopefully that was helpful. I will do a short tutorial as well where I talk about just the top level stuff. So if you want a reference, you can skip back to that one. But this is more like a step-by-step how to solve the grenade problem, and hopefully it was helpful for you. Let me know if you've got any feedback or tips or a better way of doing it. I'm all ears, and I'm keen to always like develop understanding and work with the community to figure out the best ways to do things. So I look forward to seeing all of your grenades in Crayta.